We already know what it is by now. Being able to read a paragraph is like a flex these days. Our brains are so fried that we go over the same sentence again and again and again, and we still basically can't understand anything. Our attention span went into the toilet in what feels like overnight, honestly. And most of all, now we binge watch each and every day short form content until we end up mentally and emotionally exhausted by the end. This is brain rot, and I believe that brain rot just became a lot more useful. Unfortunately, it's not useful for you. So, at the beginning of the social media age, right, everything was very new and experimental. The main driver behind these platforms was basically the human need for socializing. It's actually in the name. It's called social media, right? Now, these apps allowed you to connect to people from all over the world. And this was actually the value, right? You could share your thoughts, you could send pictures, videos, whatever was on your mind, right? And I still remember actually very vividly why my parents started using social media. And it was the need to connect with old friends and people from high school. So, at the base, fundamentally, social media solved a very basic human need. And that was the big value proposition for starting using social media. But obviously, things were about to change, as we all know. So, running a social media platform is not cheap. And that's a whole different topic. We can probably go over it in a different video. Uh, but profits started to become more and more important, just like for any other business, and also growth became mandatory. So naturally, over time, they all went through the process that was coined as inshitification. They started out great, and then they just got worse and worse over time. So first, ads became more intrusive, and this is mainly because that's where the money is, right? All these social media platforms are actually running ads, and that's how they make money. And second, the social part started to be less and less relevant for these platforms. You start being fed content that is basically thought to retain you more on the app as determined by a recommendation algorithm. So, instead of having your own feed by choosing what exactly to see and follow, now the platform starts feeding you content that they think will keep you more on the app. And third, and this is where we are right now, all of these platforms basically became digitally engineered drugs. They are fine tuned very specifically to keep you on the platform, on the apps as much as possible. And I'm not sure that people realize this. TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube Shorts, these are not just apps anymore. Yeah, I guess technically, they are apps since you download them from the App Store and you can choose to use them or not according to your preference. However, what most people don't realize is that the best UX designers, the best social engineers work for these companies. And their whole focus is to keep users engaged on the apps as much as humanly possible. And by doing that, essentially what they build is digitally engineered drugs. And I'm not saying that lightly because fundamentally, addictions all have the same underlying neural mechanisms, right? It doesn't really matter if you're addicted to substances, if you're addicted to gambling, if you're addicted to social media. It's basically all the same underneath the hood. Your brain uses the same reward mechanism, and in time it adapts to want more and more and more of whatever gives it that particular reward. So these apps just became drugs, digital drugs. And this is where the loop starts, right? Now, I'm not saying that these companies intentionally tried to create digital drugs. What I am saying is that brain rot is actually a side effect of their main purpose. And their main purpose was to maximize engagement. Okay. So by doing that, you get people addicted to the platforms. And this is where all the side effects come, the attention span, the mental fog, the uh, mental health issues, anxiety, depression. All this stuff comes from being addicted to something. And this is what we are currently experiencing, right? As a matter of fact, actually, I think that this side effect of brain rot is very bad for social media companies because more and more people are starting to realize what these apps are doing to them. And they start maybe not using the apps anymore. They go off platforms. And this is actually bad for business because they lose users. And by losing users, they lose money, right? So I don't believe that this is actually very good for these companies. However, I believe that brain rot is actually very good news for other companies. And well, in certain cases, they are the same companies. But honestly, I don't want to go full tinfoil hat over this. I'm not sure if it was intentional or not. You can decide for yourselves. So just think about it, right? You can't think straight for more than 10 minutes. You're experiencing mental fog. Your attention span is trash. You can't sit still without checking your phones every 10 minutes. All of this is going to have an impact on your productivity over time, right? We are already experiencing this. Think about all the young people coming into the field. Their brains were shaped by these social media platforms. Unfortunately for them, they will have a lot of catching up to do in terms of brain development to be able to do focused work. But hey, there is a solution now offered to you by tech companies, and it is called AI. And using AI is actually very compelling at this point because it's basically free. And if it's not free, it costs next to nothing to use these services. And this is very compelling, because you have a problem now, a new problem, which is your brain doesn't work as it should. And the solution is, hey, just use this product here and it's going to help you and it's going to get you good results. In certain cases, it might actually be better than what you can do on your own. It's going to be faster. And yeah, you're just going to get stuff done, right? Despite the fact that, you're suffering from all of these attention deficit issues. So, what's not to like, right? But think about it like this is the phase where AI companies are basically increasing their audience, right? They are increasing their user base, increasing adoption. And this is just the first phase that we had in social media as well. The very compelling case where the services, the apps, are actually solving a human problem and it's actually great to use. But as we already know, all these AI companies are actually operating at a significant loss. So think about it like this: just to break even on using these services, plans should be significantly more expensive. Each and every query should be significantly more expensive. And this is just to break even, right? But just remember, companies are not to break even, companies are made for profits. And eventually, this is what all the AI service companies are going to have to do: make profits. So, what's going to happen next? Well, as people start using AI services more and more and more, and start relying on it more and more and more, and the user base grows more and more and more, that's when companies will probably start to monetize their product more aggressively. Now, how is that going to happen? I am not sure. It's probably going to be ads. It's probably going to be significantly more expensive pricing tiers. It's probably going to be a combination of both, maybe something else. I don't know, to be honest, but for sure, that needs to happen at some point. These companies cannot operate at a loss forever, right? These are apps that will probably go through the same process of initiatification, just like social media did. So now let's think about the full loop here, right? Social media came in, a lot of users started enjoying these apps because of the value proposition. Everything was great for a while. We became addicted to it slowly, and it started destroying our brains, literally. And now we have a new problem. And now AI companies start selling you the solution for that problem, which is start using AI because your brain cannot handle it anymore. Now people start using AI more and more and more, rely on it more and more, and become addicted to it because, the more you start using AI, the less you have to use your brain, the worse your brain gets. So, yeah, this is the dynamic I've been thinking about lately, and it's very interesting. Now, I don't want to say that this was intentional. Like I said, I don't want to go all tinfoil hat over this. I will say, though, that some of these companies that own the social media platforms also own some of the AI services that are being brought to you as a solution for your problem. So make of this what you will. But it's just an interesting dynamic that I think we should be very aware of. So, yeah, these are my thoughts on this. Let me know what you guys think. Am I right? Am I wrong? Do you have anything to add? Do you have anything else to say? Hit me up in the comments. Thank you for watching and see you in the next one. Bye.